Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my garden on another nice spring day. It is a little grim and it looks overcast, but I don't mind because there's no cold wind picking up today other than yesterday. Yesterday it was clear blue sky, sun was out, it looked super beautiful, but it was such a cold wind that I couldn't possibly go in the garden, or I just didn't want to do anything in the garden. Oh look, there's Alfie on the terrace. She's enjoying the view into the garden as well. So just in case, if this is the first video you ever see from my channel, I am gardening outside the city of Gdansk at the south coast of the Baltic Sea in Poland. I'm in a zone 7B and on top of a dike, and we're almost inside of the Baltic Sea, which means when there is a cold wind picking up coming from north, it is going to hit us on top of the dike quite harsh. This is why you also see a lot of hedges here, by the way. And yeah, yesterday was not a garden day, but today is a perfect gardening day. I've checked the weather forecast for the next 2 weeks, and it feels that spring is really treating us well this year. There is just one more night with frost, eventual frost in the forecast. And I've had an eye on it for the past 5-6 days, I would say, and the situation hasn't changed rapidly. So I think it is a good time to really take you with me to the back of a garden to do a little project in the new kitchen garden, in the new area where I grow fruit and vegetable this year. You know that I have my kitchen garden, my official kitchen garden here. This is just at the end of the garage. It is kind of like a formal feel to it because it has boxwood hedges around it. While the new kitchen garden is at the slope. I've terraced out that area. I'm going to show you in a second. I've already been working in the garden in the morning on the other side of the slope, where I intend on growing a lot of my cut flowers for this year and also try out new color combinations with perennials and a lot of annuals as well. So really excited about that area. There's one thing where I'm not sure if I ever really showed you how that works, and I intend on doing so. I was just digging in dirt, basically. Let's put it that way. And I thought, okay, I've shared quite some videos where I was doing that with you already, so today is not the day to do another one of those. But I'm excited to spend the day with you in the garden. I want to plant some of the seedlings that I was growing indoors because some vegetables are not so tender, so you could definitely put them out in the landscape already. And I want to do some sowing with you together in the back here at the slope and also in the old official kitchen garden. So what I want to do first is flip the phone and show you quickly what I intend on doing today. Nothing really happened here since the last time I was working in the area together with you. So still only one raised bed is prepared and ready. The other two are still waiting for me to work on them, but that happens another day. I still have quite some time for that, I feel. Those are the things that I want to plant together with you today. So there's an entire tray of loveliness. I've got some onions here. I've never grown onions before. Then I have salad. This is Roma salad, and they already start looking quite nice, I think. They have almost all of them have like a set of 2 or 3 true leaves, so absolutely perfect. All the seeds came up, which is also wonderful. And then here I've got leek, which I've never grown before, so I have really not a lot of experience. I've done a research, so I'm going to show you in a second how I'm going to plant them out in the landscape. And then here I've got Brussels sprouts. This is a very intriguing variety. I've never seen them. It has literally purple little kales. How cute is that? Already the plants have like little purple stems, which is nice. Some of them are extremely stringy, like this one here. Oh my. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bury it quite deep into the soil. And then I've got cauliflower. Never grown cauliflower before, only broccoli, but I mean it's the same family, so it shouldn't be so much of a difference. I've got a white variety and as well a purple variety, and you can tell by the color of the stem which one is which. Here's a white stem, so this is going to be the white cauliflower, and there's purple stem, which means that there's going to be a purple cauliflower. And my seeds, what I want to do is I want to put out some radishes, yellow ones. Again, at first, this is going to go into the upper kitchen garden. And then I have cilantro, I've got like a nice Lolo Bianco salad. I've got rocket. How intriguing. Dragon's tongue is a variety's name, and it has kind of like these red-purple veins running there. I was really intrigued by that. And another salad. This is called American brown. Not sure why, but I love salad like this. How I want to do it is that I want to put all the salad crops and the cilantro in the raised bed, and then the leek, the onions, the Brussels sprouts and the cauliflower, they we planted out in the open landscape. And the last thing I want to do is just sow some quick lines of the radishes in the upper formal kitchen garden there. But first I want to start working in my raised beds because I've never had raised beds in my life. They're brand new and I'm super excited about them. The first thing I'm going to do is quickly improve the soil, and just in case if you haven't seen my video where I'm building the raised bed, I'll give you quite a good instruction on how to fill your raised bed properly, because it is kind of built in different layers. I've got, I think in total now, 8 bags of really lovely fresh garden compost in here, but still if you grow something, I think that you can always give your plant the best conditions possible. So what I do is I come in with my organic bone chips. This is what I always use. Organic bone chips, I say it over and over again, they break down to nitrogen, but the important thing about it is that they do not affect the pH level of your soil. So even if you grow something, for example, that prefers acidic soil or needs like lime, they do not do any harm. So even like rhododendrons, for example, you could just happily fertilize them with them. But I mean, this is vegetable, I'm not growing rhododendron in here. So what I do is I just come in just with some hands and then just quickly work them in. And last thing I do is, I've got water here. I just water everything already, just a little bit. I don't want to have it like soaking wet, but just a tiny bit. Work it all in so that in the end the soil is nice and prepared. This is the first thing that I'm going to do now. I prepared the entire soil, and this is kind of like how I want it to look like. It's nice and crumbly, it is nice and moist as well, so it's ready for planting and sowing. And look who joins me for today's project. I sow all my seeds this year in these natural fiber containers, and I was really happy with them. And you can tell that the first roots are poking through. So the thing is that I could just plant them in the ground as they are, because already trying to divide them, they just broke apart quite easily. Very happy with that. All I'm going to do is I will plant basically in rows, try and space them out quite evenly. And I think I'm going to put 5 in a row, so I start with the center one, I suppose. And this is all I do. Since I already fertilized everything here, I don't really need to do anything else. The soil is prepared, everything is ready. And you can tell that the soil is not really up until the highest point of the raised bed. It is like a good 2 centimeters lower. And the reason why I did it like this is because we're west facing. The slope is fully exposed to the west, which means we are in the west wind zone. So quite often the wind hits straight onto the slope. And I think that the plants will be a little happier when they might be a little lower in here and a little more sheltered and protected. So that's the only reason on why I did it. So what I'm going to do now, plant all of these here. Well, those, and then I'll continue with the sowing. The salad seedlings are all planted, so the next thing is sowing. And when it comes to sowing, you can always check the backside of your seed package, because it gives you all the information you need to know, like where to grow it, how much water it needs, how deep the seed should go. Unfortunately, this one doesn't. The rocket, on the other hand, luckily tells me that the seed should go between 0.5 to 1 centimeter into the soil. So this is exactly what I'm going to do with all the salads, basically. This one is already open, so I can show you how the seed looks like. Unfortunately, the wind started picking up again just when I'm about to start sowing. There is a lot of seed in just one pack of salad, so they always come at quite a good price level. And this is how they look like a little almond shape. They're starting to fly away, so I started now rather fast. Now comes a seed again. It's a little too much, I suppose. So all I do, just sprinkle them in here, and I probably oversow. That is not really so much of a problem, because this is not like a iceberg salad where you want to have like one nice one. This is one where you just have multiple leaves and you can just pluck them whenever you want, and that's exactly how I want to do it. So just quickly sow it, and then I just do it now without my gloves. Just backfill from both sides of the trench so that the seeds are just lightly covered with a little bit of soil, and that's all there is. So I'm going to do the exact same thing now with the Lolobionda. Oh, I thought it was called different. Lolobionda and the rocket as well. This is how the seed for the rocket looks like. Very small, kind of like poppy seed or snapdragons if you've ever sown them. So really going to hurry up before the wind starts picking up and blows it away. All my salad crops are sown in the raised beds, and honestly the wind was picking up so much that I think I just sow them everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if rocket is like popping up here and there in the garden, but at least it's edible, so I don't mind. As long as it's no stingy nettles or weeds, I'm fine with whatever. Last thing I'm going to sow in here is my cilantro. So I just opened the package already, and the seeds are a nice size so they can't blow away easily. Kind of like nice round pearls, easy to sow. How do you feel about cilantro? I personally love it, but I know it's quite controversial because a lot of people say that it has a soapy taste. And I remember back in the day, I didn't really like it that much either. But in my very first job, at one point I had lunch break with one of my colleagues. We went for Asian and she ordered her dish with additional cilantro on top of it. And that ended up on my plate, not on hers. I didn't want to make a fuss about it, so I just ate it. Not really enjoying it that much, but it was almost like an overdose, and ever since I love cilantro. First time I'm sowing it, so I'm really excited for this one as well. Last thing I'm going to do up in here is I brought one of these cloches from the inside. This is just the normal one that I use to cover when I do my sowing indoors, and I would just put it on top of my salad seedlings, at least for the night. Now they're fine during the day, but when the night comes, I think it's better to protect them a little bit, at least for the first 2-3 weeks, I feel, just to be on the safe side, even though the salad is quite sturdy. What I'm going to do, sow the cilantro now, and then I take you with me down there, because we still have quite some nice seedlings that want to go into the ground as well. This is the second terrace of a slope, so you can tell the raised beds, they're just up there. And then you can see that I laid out these wooden planks here. They were initially from the banister, the railing of our terrace, which we haven't recycled, but I could upcycle them and just put them here. And I lofted up the soil in between them, so I'm not going to step on the actual soil, only on the wooden planks, and like that I'm not going to disturb the soil and keep it nice and lofty. What I did is I dug 2 trenches here, came in with fresh garden soil, some of the organic bone chips, so I can just mix it all under, and I'm well prepared to start the planting here as well. This afternoon was meant to be a complete cloud cover and no wind. There you go. You can tell how fast the weather can change here right at the Baltic Sea. I prepared the soil, so what I'm going to put in here first are my Brussels sprouts and the cauliflower. All I do is pretty much exactly the same as what I did with a salad. I just come in with these modules. I've watered everything in fairly well, and what I do is just make a little hole, whoop, don't bury the entire plant, preferably, and just gently firm it in. And what I'm going to do with those that are really stringy, like here's a good example. Oh God, the wind's going to knock it off probably. I mean, it's super, super stringy. I'm really going to bury as much of that stringy stem as possible. And I think this is going to work out because this is exactly what I did with my zinnias. That patch, if you remember, that didn't look too good. And now they're actually looking really nice up there. I'm going to give you an update about those in a while as well. Everything is in the ground, and I'm really happy that I could really start working in this area because, you know, I've been really busy in the area for the past 6 months. I was moving dirt around in here, building these terraces, putting a support system in. And now when I can finally get in here and start planting and sowing, I know exactly why I was doing it. I mean, I will definitely know it once I can go in here and harvest. That is obviously the most exciting part. What I want to do is flip the phone and show you how things are looking. And let's face it, flimsy. They are looking quite flimsy. Once all those seedlings were still on my windowsill, I looked at them and I thought like, oh yeah, they're getting along. They're looking so nice. And once they're planted out here in the landscape, you're kind of like, where are they? They're teeny, but I don't mind. I'm happy with any progress I'm making here. So let me show you how things are looking. I've got an entire row of Brussels sprouts here, and it is a little bit of trying to find the seedling in amongst all the soil, but a little fun fact that I can show you is some seedlings, they have absolutely green leaves, while the next one has kind of like purple green leaves, and the third one has total purple and dark leaves, quite sinister. And I suppose this is a good indicator on what color the actual vegetable is going to have. I think the ones that have green leaves are definitely going to produce green Brussels sprouts, but going to keep you posted once it's time for harvest. Then underneath these two clutches, I have my cauliflower. So I've got 3 of each, 3 white, 3 purple, and I decided to cover them because I did exactly the same with my broccoli last year and I was quite successful with that method. So I feel that this is just the right thing to do. Then in my next area, this is the one that I've dedicated only to my onion vegetables. So I have got rows of 2 always like this. These are sweet onions. This is a variety called Alyssa Craig, so they should form really lovely big yellow-white onions. And just behind it are red onions, again in a row of 2. They look really stringy and small if you look at that. They kind of look like very lukewarm chives at this stage, but I suppose this is how it's supposed to look like. I'm gonna keep you posted. Fingers crossed this is gonna work out. And then just next to it, there is an entire row of leek. They look pretty much exactly the same. If I wouldn't have labeled them, I could have not told you the difference between the onion and the leek. When it comes to leek, at this stage, I'm not going to do anything, but at one point you need to mount them up a little bit because I want to make sure that I have a lot of white stem and not too much green. But when it's time for that, obviously I'm going to make a video out of that as well. One quick thing that I think I haven't mentioned before, actually I'm pretty sure I haven't mentioned before, is harvest time. So when I can finally get in and harvest my first crops, I just check the label for the salad and it said between 4 to 6 weeks, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be 6 weeks. Even though I'm in a zone 7B here, I just know the climate and it always takes a good time for the temperatures to rise and warm up. Alfie's just visiting me here again. Hello. You also intrigued, yes? Oh, you are. You want to give me a kiss, don't you? I think we're going to play in a moment again. Then I checked for the onions and the leek, and that it was a little vague. It kind of said like for the onions in between August and September. So I'm going to see. I'm just going to wing it. I think it's also depending on how big you want your crop to grow, basically. And for the leek, it said in between September and December, and that makes sense because leek is more of a winter vegetable, basically. But gonna keep you posted, gonna see how it goes, really excited. What we're gonna do now is I'm quickly gonna show you the upper kitchen garden. Even though I was just sowing my radishes there and you can't tell and see anything, I still wanna show you how the area looks. This is the upper kitchen garden and it has a quite formal feel, as you can tell. It has boxwood hedges all the way around it and they're still looking really wonderful. No sign of box blight or caterpillar. So fingers crossed that it's gonna stay like that. The entire first part of the kitchen garden all the way up until there basically is for different kind of vegetables. So I just put the radishes here and the radishes should be ready in between 35 to 40 days. So let's see. So they're like a very early and fast crop. In the back of a kitchen garden, I can't really show you a lot, I suppose. There are our raspberries and they're all autumn fruiting. Let me see if they are actually so. Oh yes, they are here. You can tell. So first growth is appearing and all these fresh new growth stems, this is where the plant is actually going to produce this year's fruit. And there is a cherry laurel as well, which is not supposed to stay in here. Maybe just plant it out at the slope, let's see. Last thing I want to do is quickly I want to show you what I did in the morning back at the slope. I already announced it in the beginning of the video. Be excited. Basically, I played my favorite game again of moving soil from one area to another. And doing that, I thought, what on earth am I going to do if that game ever stops in this garden? I'm going to be so bored, or I'm just going to transform the slope again. from terraces back into a slope shape, who knows? But I've got to flip the phone now quickly and show you what I did. I'm not sure if I ever showed you the cut flower side of this slope from this angle. I suppose not, because what happened in the back here, so basically all the way down here, this is where I built stairs made of soil. And that worked pretty well for, I would say, a year, maybe a little longer. But then at one point in, I would say, August, September last year, those stairs, they gave up. They were not really safe anymore. It was not nice walking on them. So I decided to eradicate them and make the terraces bigger, basically. So have more planting space, which I don't mind. I was like, that is a good idea. But obviously, I need to move from one terrace to another. And how I'm going to do it, same thing on what I'm going to do on the other side where I have my vegetable garden. I went again to my favorite Swedish furniture shop and bought more of these here. They do come in natural wood, but I bought black stain, stained them. It's already a little dirty because I was walking on it. And the beautiful thing about it is that I'm so flexible with them. So if I don't want to have it where it's standing now, I could just take it to another area, because then I'm very flexible with how I want to move on the slope, how I want to plant the slope, and that is just so nice and gives me so many more opportunities on how to utilize this area. That is it for today's video. I hope you have fun with me in the garden this afternoon. And obviously this is just the starting point of me working in my new vegetable garden. So excited. Things that I planted today are those kind of plants that can definitely withstand colder temperatures and they're not so fuzzy. So there's a lot and a lot more to follow because my windowsills are still full with crops and stuff and I'm really excited about it. Obviously I still need to prepare the other two raised beds because in one of them I want to grow my chilies and bell peppers. But before that happens, I really need to get in there and start preparing the area. But what I'm going to do tonight is I will go back onto the slope and just level out the last bit of those terraces on the cut flower area. Prepare a little bit because I already know what I'm going to do in my next video. I have a really exciting plan that I want to put in there together with you. But before that happens, I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you so much for spending the afternoon with me in my garden and I would love to welcome you in my garden very soon again. Take care, guys. Bye.